Welcome back to one more session. Today in this session I am going to explain about historical background of the Constitution of India. The British came to India in 1600 as traders in the form of East India Company, which had the exclusive right of trading in India under a charter granted by Queen Elizabeth I. In 1765, the company, which till now had purely trading functions, obtained the Diwani, that is, rights over revenue and civil justice of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. This started its career as a territorial power. In 1858, in the wake of the Siphon Unity, the British Crown assumed direct responsibility for the governance of India. This rule continued until India was granted independence on August 15, 1947. Now, let us study the various phases of the growth of our constitution from the advent of the English on Indian shore till this day. We can broadly divide those phases into 5 periods, are 1600 to 1765, the coming of the British; 1765 to 1858, beginning of British rule; 1858 to 1919, end of East India Company rule, nothing but end of company's rule; and 1919 to 1947, introducing self-government; 1947 to 1950, the framing of the new constitution. The struggle for independence was thus over by 15th August 1947, but the attainment of independence was not an end itself. It was only the beginning of a struggle, the struggle to live as an independent nation and at the same time establish a democracy based on the ideas of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. The need of a new constitution forming the basic law of the land for the realization of these ideas was paramount. Therefore, one of the first tasks undertaken by independent India was framing of a new constitution. As provided in the cabinet mission plan, the Constituent Assembly came into being in November 1946. Its members were elected by the Provincial Assembly by indirect election. Out of 296 seats for British India, the Congress captured 211 seats and Muslim League 73 seats. The rest were not filled up. It is to be noted that this Constituent Assembly could not be called as a sovereign body. It was brought by the British government and could be abolished by it. Its authority was limited. It was to work within the framework of the cabinet mission scheme. It could not change the outline of the constitution as given in the cabinet mission plan. But on passing of the Indian Independence Act of 1947, the above mentioned limitations were removed. According to the terms of the Act of 1947, it became a sovereign body. It was not to work within the framework of the cabinet mission plan. It was free to frame any constitution it pleased. The important members of the Constituent Assembly were Jawaharlal Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel, Maulana Azad, Gopalaswamy Iyengar, Govinda Bala Pant, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, T. Krishnamachari, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, H.N. Kunjuru, H.S. Gaur, K.V. Shah, Masani, Acharya Kripalani, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Radhakrishnan, Dr. Jaikar Likwat Ali Khan, Khwaja Nazimuddin, Sir Firoz Khan Noon, Shurwardi, Sir Jafarullah Khan, Dr. Sachidanandan Sinha. The first meeting of the assembly was held on 9th December 1946 as the Sovereign Constituent Assembly for India. On December 11, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected its permanent chairman. It was held in an atmosphere of uncertainty because the Muslim League boycotted the assembly. In spite of this, the assembly made a substantial progress and adopted an objective resolution, which later became the preamble of the constitution. It appointed various committees to deal with different aspects of the constitution. The report of the committee formed the basis on which the first draft of the constitution was prepared. On August 29, 1947, a drafting committee of 7 members was set up under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The draft constitution was published in January 1948. The people of India were given 8 months to discuss the draft and propose amendments. As many as 7,635 amendments were proposed and 2,473 were actually discussed. The Constituent Assembly held 11 sessions. The draft constitution was considered for 114 days. In all, the Constituent Assembly sat for 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. The new Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26th November 1949 and signed by the President Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Articles 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 323, 366, 367, 372, 380, 388, 391, 392 and 393 came into force at once. The remaining provisions of the Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950, which is the date of the commencement of this Constitution. Name of the Constitution. The name of our Constitution is the Constitution of India. Authoritative text in the Hindi language. The provision has been made for the authoritative text of the Constitution of India in the Hindi language. that it shall cause to be published by the President under his authority. The Constitution of India repealed Indian Independence Act 1947 and the Government of India Act 1935 together with all enactments amending or supplementing the latter act but not including the abolition of Privy Council Jurisdiction Act 1950. It is to be noted that the jurisdiction of Privy Council to hear was abolished by the Abolition of Privy Council Jurisdiction Act 1949, which came into effect on the replacement of Federal Court with the Supreme Court of India in 1950. This is the historical background of the Constitution of India.